Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to another link in a chain that I call Quickviews of questionable utility. Because when we get into stuff like this, I realize, yeah, I mean, you know, if you got banana hands, everything, the scale kind of goes out the window. You can't really tell what's what. Here's a canyon trail. So, in this day and age, what are our recipients for full-blown 2.2s? Rifts. As I stand here today, on this date, it appears Axial is abandoning the Rift just as they abandoned the Bomber and all of the other things that run a tire this big. G-Made GOM is still out there looking for a full-size 2.2. Cross Emo X2, the giant XJ. There's that other Cross, the one that looks like a tow truck, looking for a full-size 2.2. If you're building yourself something, like this, big rock buggy type thing, you can get away with these types of things. But all of the 575, 579s, I mean, I think the 525 is the way of the day. This is the ProLine trencher in G8. I also have them here in this very building, right over at the end of the bench, as a matter of fact, in Predator. But I figured we start with the G8, and if there's any traction at all on this video, which there probably won't be, we'll test the Predator ones. We'll swap the same wheels, same everything. We'll swap the inserts around, and we'll see what we get. Yeah, like 147, 148. Yeah, that's actually, is that? Yeah, that's a little, yeah, well, I think they say 579 on the sidewall. Do they say 579? No, they say 575. They're closer to that 5.8. This is just on a ProLine single stage, the big white fluffy foam. And you could call it 57, you could call it 58. Either way, it's big. These are big. This is our guy. Built basically because we frequently have to test things with the tire that's in front of you. And when I say have to, I don't know. Feelings of obligation. I need to test all tires. I'm not 100% sure that we've tested a Class 2 trencher here. I can't recall. Maybe? I don't think so. I know we tested the Hyrax, and we are routinely not impressed by the Hyrax. It is the closest thing that I can estimate to an outdated tire. Like, there's just so many tires that do better. I have something of a historical affinity for the ProLine trencher from back in the day before we, effectively stopped buying ProLine tires, because I had a set of 2.8 ProLine trenchers on a Stampede, and they were chef's kiss, and dry rotted out within a year. Like, the whole inner sidewall fell apart. Now, those were molded in whatever ProLine molds that tire, M2, M3, whatever they're molded out of. Apparently, these are chalking terribly on the sides. Let's see if we can. Now you need a little solvent to wipe it down. Like, they don't look like other tires. Give me somebody. Right? There's a definite tonal difference in the color there. It's what G8 and Predator do. Predator turns a kind of brownish on the sidewall. That's gassing out. They are getting weaker. I don't believe these have any. No, these look great. And as far as a ProLine tire goes, these look great. What happens when they don't look great? So in the vein of the aforementioned Hyrax, this is a 2230 Hyrax, basically for like U4 style, like somebody might be running like a Hammer Ray, something like that. Pretty much, as you can see, pretty much the same size-ish. Blue Dot Predator. Here's what will start to happen. Can you see the? And then we've got the cracks forming in between the lugs, like that. Those are not sipe lines. These are about 2 years old. As you can see, they've not been run a significant amount of times. And this is just, oh, there we go. Yeah, there you go. This is just what ProLine tires do. And some faster than others. So, we're going to go through the protocol. We're going to go through the 10 stations of the Class 3 protocol. We're going to see how Wolverine feels about big old trenchers. And if there's any interest at all, we'll do the Predators at a later date. It does remind me, very recently to the recording of this, someone said that in Canada, they have no use of these. There's no use for G8 tires because it's too wet and too cold. I believe they said 7 months of the year for these to be useful. And that is opposite of us for Predator, where we are. 8 months out of the year, Predator is not useful because it is too hot and too dry. G8 is a compound geared towards very high grip situations. It's basically a long wearing tread, much like X2, S3 from RC 4-wheel drive. You need high traction for them to function. We don't have remarkably high traction. The higher traction tire is the blue, the Predator compound. I should test these on there, yeah? Maybe. Should I? Throw it in the comments below. 2230 Hyrax on him? I have them. They haven't fallen apart yet. They might work. Predator doesn't work 8 months of the year. And then the other 4 months of the year, these don't provide a high enough amount of forward drive in G8. Not this tire particularly. There's kind of a spectrum that Predator and G8 tires fall into in terms of their scores because the compound is the ultimate limitation. The irony of that is that the headquarters of ProLine, the folks who make the tires, is about 30 miles east of where I am right now. So they don't make a tire that excels in their home environment. If you go up to the desert, if you drive about an hour and a half up into the desert, you can get to what we call the 12 grit rocks. And then G8 and X2, S3 work great. As a matter of fact, RC 4-wheel drive's X2, SS is actually too soft for up there in the desert. But if you're not bestowed upon you 12 grit rocks, like the rocks are the texture of floor of the sandpaper that goes in a floor resurfacing machine, in a floor stripping machine, which is basically rocks, tiny little sharp pebbles glued to paper. That's what the rocks up there feel like. We don't have that here, so G8 is going to land where G8 lands. I do like the trencher, even though they have a tendency to rot out their sidewalls, much like the Predator is doing. We will cast all that aside. We'll hit the 10 steps of the protocol. We will see how the ProLine trencher does, and you can extrapolate to a degree how the 1.9 would do relative to the 2.2 because the compound and the tread are exactly the same, only the size is different. Welcome outside, everyone. It is early. Fairly early in the AM. It is about 50 freedom unit degrees, 60% relative humidity. We have a soft breeze from the west-southwest. You might get a little jingle out of the wind chime every now and again. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Based on how big, it's an overstuff type of foam. I don't think we're going to see a lot of static bag or anything. But that was pretty clean up the face there. And 147 millimeters tall. Paired with a portal axle, we should have pretty good on the clearance. Can we go straight over? Oh, that's very good. That's very good. This is Predator weather, 50 degrees Fahrenheit. It doesn't really hurt anybody. Any tire, regardless of what it is designed for, you get it around between 40 and 50 degrees. I had read one time that the optimal temperature to run a marathon is 42 degrees Fahrenheit. And I think that toy car tires might be in the same neighborhood. They just do better. Like below that, you might get it cold enough to where, much like my fingers right now, the rubber starts to stiffen up. But at 42, Well, where we are right now at 50, it doesn't, there's no detectable drawbacks. Ooh, little droppy, little pushy. Again, foam density maybe a little high for Wolverine because he's 3,000 grams, so 6.6 pounds. And typically, like if you're fitting this to something else, Wraith, Bomber, Emo X, something like that, it's going to be heavier. Like even a Rift, it's probably going to be around 8 pounds. So the foam is probably even closer for that, but we're doing solidly well so far. We're going to battle lighting conditions as best we can. I don't want to see falls. Ooh. Now, the catch is a plus. The ability to see that flop coming, also a plus. We'll go a little more this side. Yeah, we get out of that little gapper there. Nice, nice. A little bit of, yeah. Now, the trencher is, okay, who would be the equivalent? Scorpio, J-Concept Scorpio, kind of be the similar thing. Who else have we got? Duratrax, not the Scalar, the other one. Is it the Scalar? Might be the Duratrax Scalar. May it rest in peace. So while they are a little bit of a baby hieroglyphic action going on the tread lug, what you effectively have is they look dissimilar, but it's a bit of a mono lug going on because all of the lugs are the same height. All of the lugs are roughly approximately the same size. There's no step pin action to it. The lug is tightly spaced, so that is going to favor some environments over others. Like they're showing me, honestly, it was more forward drive than I had anticipated because I was remembering Hyrax. And the Hyrax really don't have that surplus of forward drive. I think these are going to do solidly well across the board. The turn-in is pretty good. That's single stage foam is going to benefit for drive, but I don't think we're going to see a lot of it doesn't push real hard on steering. So we don't quite see, I need some lug, a little bit of lug differential. There we go. Can it hold it? It's got a reasonably usable side lug. I need to move that front end over just a little bit, right about there. Yeah. Manipulability is way up there. Manipulability is the ergonomics of tires. It will do the function asked. And that's, in a G.I. Joe fashion, that is half the battle. Because I'm not going to say that the trencher is just submissive. It does kind of have a line that it wants to pick. It's got a little bit of wanderlust, and that's monoblock. Well, I call it the crawler problem. I know these look nothing like a crawler, but you have a similar thing happening because of that of the orientation of the lug. They're helping the G8 out though. The G8 is doing better than I thought it would. This is more on the lines of a Predator type amount of drive from a G8. So while I have certainly said it in the past, everything we do is a compromise. Everything. A big tall tire is obviously going to increase ground clearance, which, I mean, look right there, the pumpkin to the ground from there. You could drive an SCX-24 right under there. That's going to help you in a lot of situations. The drawback to a big tall tire like this is we're talking a tire that is 147 millimeters tall and has a rim that from edge of beadlock ring to edge of beadlock ring is 58 millimeters, something like that. So we've got 45 millimeters of sidewall on either side of the rim. It is more tire than wheel. It's almost the same amount of tire to it's like a 1-to-1 ratio. That will tend to lead a tire to fold over. But we've got an overstuffed foam here. Are we going to lift? Not even a little. Front did not lift at all. No added weight. None of that stuff. There are little slippery, sloppery, slidery moments. The tire will just kind of, just kind of slip out on you a little. And this is that last couple percent stuff. Is that problematic to the trencher? I would say the leading problem to the trencher is the compound in which it is cast. Predator is going to work for some people most of the time. G8 is going to work for some people most of the time, but neither of them are going to work for all people all the time. If you have a set of these, there's going to be conditions where another tire is going to give you more grip. If you have the Predators, there's going to be a lot of situations where another tire gives you more grip. Can we get on lower? But they're not folding over at all. Again, I think because the foam is geared towards something a little bit heavier. Yeah, I got down real far on that. Real slow, no steering input. Real nice, real nice. Now, your results will certainly vary. If you're rocking a body, particularly a body that's going to fit on something this big, if you're not a Wraith or a Bomber or a Rift, that tire's going to fold straight over. You got to know this because the sprung to unsprung ratio is going to be very different. This is maybe a little bit of an installment of the Wolverine lore where he's just really well suited to this type of tire. I don't think a Rift would do as well. Just the geo, the greater width, everything would not trend to the performance as well as this tire. So this is even more of a niche pigeonhole tire than we even mentioned on the bench, because you're going to need something of a specific weight, of a specific size. Like, I think a Capra axle width is about where you want to be. This is an odd one. It's an odd one. And many of the tires that we test, I think it's more odd ones than not. Because it is my conclusion early on, ever evolving. It is my hypothesis, which we're constantly testing, that there is no answer. There is no tire that is the answer. Some tires come close to being the answer, but no tire is the answer to every rig's question. We're not real, I mean, we're kind of in between, we're in an in-between place. Is that got a little bit of a hang-up? Yeah, I could hear a little knock. We might have a little mechanical on that. Oh, there you go, there you go. Is the trencher the answer to every question? I don't think so. I don't think so. It is very good, but we come around to the ProLine problem, which is multifaceted. A, they cost too much. They tend to be priced 10, 20%, 25, 30% more than another tire. That's a problem already. We've got the G8 versus Predator conundrum, where wherever you are, with some small exceptions, I don't think either compound is going to work for you all the time unless you live in immediate access to extremely high grip rocks, or you live in a place that never even gets above 80 degrees Fahrenheit. The first one being G8 and the second situation being Predator. I don't live in either of those. It's 115 in the summer. So Predator, we are in Predator weather right now, and it is December. It's almost winter as of the recording of this. And this is about as cold as it gets. So we have to wait until the very coldest parts of the year for Predator to be functional. And G8 is pretty okay at this time of year. Predator will give you a little more. It doesn't get wet here very often. It's the little things. Typically, it's the little things that kill. There's a little thing that is going to separate one tire from another. It's those last few percent. I don't think that's the case with tires like the Trencher, because it is, well, we're going to see. I've got 4 scores written down. We'll see when it has all 10 written down. As it stands now, it's very near its direct competition in the full size, the 57522 tire class. It's very close. But then you have to make those considerations. The cost. Is it going to work year round? We've got a little bit of crawler problem. There's no full-size 2.2 crawler, is there? I don't think there is. Like, see, that's almost all the forward drive I could ask for. And that is why the protocol exists in the form and fashion that it does, because we want to see this get more difficult, and we want to see how the tire deals with it. Yeah, that's solid right there. No notes. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, they don't unload. The side leg doesn't give way. They have a really good amount of grip. Are we performance optimized right now? I mean, maybe. This might be a bit of performance optimization. But the crawler is, the Trencher is doing better than anticipated, for sure. And why surprising? Well, as was mentioned, the Hyrax is not a crawler tire. Didn't begin as a crawler tire. They kind of made it into one. The Trencher is definitely not a crawler tire. It is no more a crawler tire than a masher. My first set of Trenchers were 2.8 Stampede tires. I have also used a set of Trenchers for slash size, 2230 Trenchers. So we have a tread pattern that works, but that tread pattern, and by extension, the tire that the tread pattern is a component of, is going to have an inherent weakness, and you can categorize those in the order that is most applicable to you. G8 versus Predator versus, well, I mean the size for one, versus other tires in the exact same category that are going to give you a similar level of performance, but are going to have a lug pattern that is more suited to doing this. These are doing really well. And I think, I feel like the score at the end is going to be pretty concise. I don't know. What am I doing right now? I'm trying not to get up. That's what I'm trying to do. Come on. Come on, you can back over it. It counts. I didn't have to get up, so it counts. That's a self-right. Self-righting this thing is not easy. It doesn't have a body. It doesn't have anything to rely on. Okay. We're going to go right to the hard side, because that's where class 3s go. We're getting a little bind up on the rear end. Ooh, it really unloads. This is that moment where maximum forward drive from a single stage comes kind of back around full circle and bite. You'll get a little Ouroboros action, little bites. It's just eating itself. Okay, stay up. Want to get closer. Left hand. That's good. Nah. Now, we're effectively maximized in terms of forward drive in my estimation of this. I don't think any other insert is going to give you more forward drive. Is a different insert going to stop that rear from pivoting over like that? I don't know. Oh, it's so close. It's so close. There's a lifty action to it. And then right there, that is crawler problem with a K. We get this push wide. There it is, that little pop. Because it's named Tumbledore for a reason. Because that traction was split unevenly. The rear was trying to do more work because the front is lifting. It's kind of over traction in the rear. Excellent right there. Little slide. Oh, very good. Okay, stay fence side. Oop, little lift. Can we pull through it, or is it overloaded? It's overloaded, but we can flop it back down. Yeah, there are definitely some interpolation points going in because the tire is predictable. It's pretty predictable. And even if that predictability trends towards the negative, as long as it's predictable, you can think up an attack strategy to counteract what it's doing that you don't want it to do. Sometimes a tire is real out of pocket and snappy, and you're like, I don't know what it's going to do at this moment. These, I know what they're going to do. It is trended, and the insert might be part of it, but it is trended towards a surplus of forward drive, and I know that's ordinarily not a thing, but when I say surplus of forward drive, I mean in exchange for other functions. When you change an insert to any other kind of insert, you're going to lose forward drive, but you're going to move that traction somewhere else. So that tractional ability, a tire only has so much grip. It does not matter how good the insert is. It doesn't matter. You can optimize an insert to a tire only after you've kind of determined what is the density of insert that this vehicle requires to perform at its maximum level. Sometimes that's 3D printed, sometimes that's a dual stage, sometimes that's just a single stage foam. The single stage foam in this, would I go to, it's a delicate balance. So if we go to, say, either a firmer, I had it. Dang it. Gonna have to get up. You could, if you go to a firmer rear insert or a softer front insert, you are going to move the traction, the way the traction behaves, in a pattern that you hope is predictable. But variables, they jump up and they say, well, your plan was good, and your plan was based on priorly gained knowledge, but we have X factors, and we're going to deploy those X factors against you. Nope, a little more fence side, a little more fence side. These are quite wide, or almost 60 millimeters wide. Ooh, yes. Yes. Oh, yeah, that was real nice. It is a relatively small crowd that does that fence side, the blind fence side. I'm sitting over here. It's doing things over there. So I have to be able to put a tire in the exact line that I want it to be. And the trencher cooperated. For a tire that is not a rock crawling tire, and I say that, I mean, this is in a rock crawling compound vended to people who drive rock crawlers, but the trencher tread is from Stampedes. You know, it's a monster truck tire. So of the monster truck tires, really good. I mean, really good. We're looking at a score here. It's early. That dropped down real nice. Are we looking at top ProLine score today? I mean, it could be. Because even if we don't see the highest score, what we are going to have is a low variability score. And low variability may be even preferable to higher. Let me elaborate. Say you get a tire that comes out at the end of the day with a 97. And you have another tire that comes out at the end of the day with a 96.5, let's say. But the tire on its way to a 97 mixed in there some like 94, 9.4, 9.5s, and then offset it with like some 9.8s, some real high scores. Like a bunch of 9.8s and then some odd ones thrown in there to draw it back down. Then you have a tire, like the one that jumps to mind is like a J-Concepts Tusk, which will basically just pull 9.7s all the way across the board. And get to a 97 via just being the same, because its traction profile is so rounded. that it works everywhere. That is kind of where the trencher is trending towards now, landing on a score with very low variability. That's what I like. The flat iron did this, had very low variability. It was standing as my favorite ProLine tire. Still kind of does. I like the look of it. It's very monoblocky, but it doesn't. I like it over the crawler. I'll take flat iron over crawler any day. And I feel like I'm in a semi-vocal minority there. The trencher has, is that gonna pull back? It almost did. It almost did. The trencher, ooh, that was a brush. That was a brush. We are quite wide. Okay, I need to get this side over a little bit more. Don't hit it. Oh, nice. In terms of ProLine tires, the highest degree of manipulability of the tire. Like, I wanted Wolverine to do a specific thing when passing through that gate, and they did it. They did the thing, and we're here to do the thing. Do they have a performance profile as rounded as what I would like? Oh, they're very close. They're very close. And on a basically stock white memory foam, which is yellowed from degassing, these are doing remarkably well in the categories not specific to forward drive. And that is the biggest success for me of the trencher on the day. And it is definitely a reminder that I have not tested the C2. Oh, I had a little bit of sun squint. That's not the trencher's fault. I wanted to be right there, and then I wanted to reposition back and come through just like that. Yeah, they're genuinely surprising, these. Possibly unseating the flat iron? I mean, maybe. They've not had a blah moment. We'll go center first. Little, okay, it's gonna push us right. Pretty good on the position back. Show me soft side. Nice. There was a moment where it looked like it was going to do a little crawler push, where it was going to pop the front end out. Did not do it. A little better side lug action there. So think of this as, I don't know why more people don't run trenchers instead of crawlers. My recollection of the crawler is fairly fresh in my mind. While it is a monoblock, even though it doesn't appear to be, it has the same, a similar problem to what the J-Concept Scorpio does. It does not suffer to the degree that the Scorpio does. The Scorpio is very rig specific. The 2.2 LP Scorpio was the best of the Scorpios. Now, I have to try the 1.9 trencher because is it familial? Does it transfer? Because these are really quite solid. I got outside my desired line. Can we pull it back? I mean, kinda. Yeah, I would say so. That is relatively efficient there. Okay, try that center again. It's got the, there you go. Had a little bit of a drop back, but that is otherwise quite solid. Now, single stage overstuff. We can almost get up past level. But what we're actually looking at with a bump is how much do we need, and how does it land? We get a little secondary hop. We get a little secondary hop. So we've got a tire that is really maximizing forward drive. It has no chevron to the tread pattern. It is omnidirectional, which is going to help you in some instances like manipulability and positionability, but it's not going to help you in situations like this. Do you see it squirt right? Hey, that was all over the place. Oh yeah. They act a little bouncy. Now, luckily, the forward drive level is high enough that you're not gonna have to use a lot of throttle to bump, and we can kind of like, where's it gonna just fall away? Get right on that edge. Yeah, I mean, gravity's trying to kind of take over, and there you go. But that's a strong hold. I did not anticipate the trencher to be so oriented towards forward drive. Yeah, see, you got to go real low pressure on the bump. Big bumps are just, you're gonna go wherever it decides. We go. The big bump is crazy. Luckily, we have enough traction in the profile that it's about a 20% bump. Solid on the bump, but we have to look at it from all the angles, which is solid low bump is great, but we don't want a high bump that's going to go all over the place. That's a little bit part of the crawler problem. So that was there. Yep. 2 to go, and you know what? We're looking pretty good. So it's just a matter here of, is it not going to overcompress? We've seen pretty good performance from the side lug. Going to grab that top right there. And what we don't want is that rear to slide out, and it's not. Going to use our width. We have to come down a little lower right here. Now we're out on the prow there. Is it going to hold? Oh, that cutback was all me. I just swung too much mass. I was trying to get that front end position a little better, forgetting how big these are. So we're gonna go a little more on the white side here. Okay, because I wanna stay right there. Nope. That's a little bit of a crawler problem. That is very slippery out on that front side. And that part of the rock has not seen sun, so it's also quite cold. But it is a pretty good illustration of where the grip is running out. Okay, so if we pop white side, so you see the chalky marks right in front of the tire there. There's a couple little clusters of chalk. We're gonna try to, if we nudge the white side marker, that's fine. I wanna stay on or above that chalk right there and let it slide glide. Yeah. This is a situation where you would be trying to exchange some of that forward drive. The entry on, getting onto the obstacle, so easy. Now we're gonna hit the white and we'll stay above right here because I wanna see what the rear end does. Yeah, it's pretty straight through. A little walk on it. That's the limit. That's why this is the last test before wet, because that's not cool, man. That entry and that obstacle are not designed to be easy. It's not gonna do top tier on that, but everything else has been really solid. So we arrive here at the end, station 10, which is right next to station 1. I like to take a little hit, see if there was any differential. Do I feel any different about the forward drive now that the inserts have gotten time to know? And it feels pretty much exactly the same. Would I go up a 10th? No. Little stuff like that. Also, reasonably responsive to different levels of throttle input. So this is the wet protocol right here. There's that marker that's way down there in the bright sunlight is supposed to be right. Let me get back around. It's supposed to be right about there. Like we would have gone on the outside, right there. It's supposed to be right there. We might have to move it over there when we wet this thing down. So it's supposed to be right there, but I grabbed it with the belly of somebody and pulled it off a while back. There we go, with that down. G8 has historically been a 1/10er, meaning whatever score it pulled for forward drive at Slick Rock, it's gonna drop about a 10th on wet. We'll see any hesitations? No, that was nice through there. That is the softest side. We basically do we got 3 approaches. There's the soft side. And now we've got the medium. Very good. Very good. All right, so far it's a 0/10. Then we'll get to the other side. I haven't seen any appreciable wheel slip at all. Then here's the most difficult one right here. Oh, fantastic. Very close to improving on its dry score on the wet. Yeah, that's really good. I think that is the strength of, it's kind of like a cut trencher. It's siped, like a siped lug. So the trencher is going to do better than anything that is a true monoblock. So flat iron, crawlers, tires of that type, even swampers, this is going to do better than that because of that orientation of the lug. That was one more wrap. Really surprising on the wet. Coming around, get it through the puddle. I mean, that's river rock basically. So any slippage you get there, like any tire is going to slip there. Those did really well. Which lands the G8 compound trencher 2.2 full size 575 at a 97.1, which is the second highest score for a currently available ProLine tire. I mean, obviously behind the Chisel, Hammer, Moab, tires like that, the tires of yore. But in terms of tires that you can buy today, it comes in at a soft second place, and I would put it in first place because the first place tire is the Predator Ibex, which has an even more limited range of fitment than these. I now am obligated to try the 1.9 trencher because I estimate the 1.9 trencher could get close to this. I want to see how that sidewall translates. I want to see what Canyon Customs in it, that type of stuff. But definitely surprised. Do I have a rig suited for these? No. You need like rift size or capper axle. Like, you could build this and you'd be pretty happy with it. Is it the tire that I would recommend over any and all others? Well, no. I still think that an LP, a 2.2 LP of this same tire would be better. It would get up to that, like the Ibex was 97.4. It would get up into around that range because your manipulability would be a little better. You'd have less energy return on bump. Sidewall integrity gets even higher. So in more extreme side hilling situations, an LP will perform a little better. It's great. It's still not my favorite ProLine tire, but I am genuinely amazed at how well it did. In terms of G8, not score aside, which puts it above all the other ProLines, this is the best ProLine subjectively. So not just looking at the as objective as we can get scores from 10 test protocol stations. This is the best one. And it's not even a crawler tire. It's a monster truck tire made in a crawling compound and in a crawling size. And it does really, really well. I'm taken aback. Again, so G8 is not suited to all temperatures nor environments. Predator is in greater measure not suited to all temperatures nor environments. But I guess if you cut up your lugs like these are, it kind of softens the blow. Where on the board, where's the next G8 tire? A decent ways down the board. So this will be tied for 13th with a 97.1. The next G8 tire on the protocol list is tied for 17th, the G8 Aztec, which, if you look at the Aztec, similar tread configuration with kind of a siped lug, not as hieroglyphic-y broken up as these, but a little bit of chevron to them. So, I don't know. Aztec versus 1.9 C2 trencher. I think that's going to be fairly close. It's going to be fairly close. We'll see. We will see in the future when those are inevitably tested if that crawler problem persists, if the Aztec remains what like right now, me guesstimating, I have tested enough tires to where I feel like I can extrapolate. I would see the Aztec scoring a couple tenths higher because of the orientation of those lugs. The Aztec is a terribly named tire, but it's pretty good, and I would like to see like a 2.2 LP version of it. If a tire is good, we get to see it in all sizes. Look no further than J Concepts Tusk. Yeah, who is this for? I have no idea. Are they good? They're actually very good, and they are the best G8 tire that we've tested yet. I guess that's the takeaway for the day. If you have an application for a 575 tire, I feel like you know it. If you're looking for a tire, consider this one, knowing the caveats. I'm not going to recommend this to you actively over a 575 Tusk, because that 575 Tusk is going to work in more places, in more environments, on more hot and cold days, with the included foam, with no issues. The trencher is an option, but it's not the best option. 97.1 notwithstanding, right? Did you think there was so many considerations that went into buying toy tires for your toy cars? Maybe there aren't for you, but there sure are for me. 2.2 Trencher G8, really good. And not just in ProLine terms, I mean in everybody terms, really good. Still, I mean, based on its nature, cannot shoot to the top of the recommendations. So all of this, in between now and when we meet again, please one and all do your very best. Have a good one, everybody. And while you're doing your best, take these things into consideration. It's your money, man. It is your choice to whom you give that money. So know the caveats. If you saw a performance aspect that makes you go, oh yeah, get them, knowing. Some days they're not going to work as well as others. They're probably going to rot out a little bit faster than your other tires. But hey, there's a lot to be said for tires that are here for a good time and not for a long time. So with that, I bid you adieu. Thank you so much for joining us here in the Canyon. Questions, comments, and concerns, please do put them below. We will see you in the next one, whatever that may be.